Zaris, a city unlike any other. Towers of glass and steel scraped the sky. They stood defiant against the ever-present storm clouds. But Zaris was more than just steel and glass. It pulsed with a hidden energy, magic. It flowed through its streets, a current felt but unseen. In Zaris, artisans crafted marvels. They combined technology and enchantment in perfect harmony. Ether-powered automatons walked beside mages. Their robes billowed with arcane power. Floating lanterns illuminated the night, fueled by captured starlight. Zaris was a city of innovation. It was a beacon of progress in a world teetering on the edge of oblivion. But even in the heart of wonder, shadows lurked. Beneath the gleaming surface, a different Zaris existed. This was a place of desperation and despair. It was in these shadows that Lyra made her home. Lyra was a child of the streets. Orphaned at a young age, she had only known the city's underbelly. Her playground was the labyrinthine network of alleys and tunnels beneath the gleaming towers. Her companions were the city's forgotten souls, beggars, thieves, and outcasts. She was quick, agile, and possessed a sharp wit. Lyra was a survivor she had to be. The streets of Zaris were unforgiving. She honed her skills in the art of stealth, becoming a shadow flitting through the night. Her nimble fingers were adept at relieving the unwary of their valuables. It was a dangerous game, but one she played with unmatched expertise. Lyra had learned to trust no one. She relied only on her instincts and her cunning. But deep down, beneath the hardened exterior, a flicker of hope remained. Lyra yearned for something more. She longed to escape the shadows and find her place in the city of light. One night, a storm raged over Zaris. It was unlike any other. The wind howled with primal fury. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the city in a blinding, ethereal glow. The very foundations of Zaris trembled. Fear gripped the hearts of even the most stoic citizens. When the storm finally subsided, it left behind something extraordinary. In the center of the city, where an abandoned factory had once stood, a colossal structure emerged from the earth. It was an ancient temple, untouched by time. Its obsidian surface gleamed under the dawning sun. It was as if it had always been there, hidden from view until this moment. Rumors spread like wildfire. Whispers of forgotten gods and ancient powers filled the streets. An expedition, comprised of the city's bravest souls and leading scholars, was assembled. Their goal to venture into the depths of the temple and uncover its secrets. Lyra, ever the opportunist, saw this as a chance. She slipped unnoticed into the expedition's ranks, her curiosity piqued, her senses tingling with a mixture of trepidation and excitement. The temple was a labyrinth of winding corridors and vast chambers. Its walls were adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and shift in the flickering torchlight. The air grew heavy, thick with the weight of centuries. The expedition pressed on, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Deep within the temple's heart lay a chamber unlike any other. It was circular, its floor inscribed with a complex geometric pattern that glowed with an otherworldly light. In the center rested an artifact. It was a cube of polished obsidian, no larger than Lyra's fist, yet it pulsed with palpable energy. As the expedition leader reached out to touch it, Lyra, driven by a sudden, inexplicable urge, lunged forward. The moment her fingers brushed against the cold surface, a surge of energy erupted. Lyra cried out, her vision awash in blinding light. When she could see again, she found herself surrounded by beings of immense power. They were the forgotten gods, awakened from their eons-long slumber. And Lyra, the street thief, had been their unwitting harbinger. Section 5. The Gods Among Us. The return of the gods sent ripples through Zaris. Some welcomed them as saviors, beings of immense power. Others viewed their return with fear and suspicion. The gods were beings of chaos and destruction. Their presence threatened the delicate balance of Zaris. The gods seemed content to observe. They walked among mortals, awe-inspiring and terrifying. Their gaze held the power to reshape the city. Temples rose in their honor. Ancient rituals were revived. A new order emerged in Zaris, with gods at the center. Section 6. Whispers in the Wind. Lyra was torn. The gods' whispers were seductive. They promised her power, a chance to shape the world in her image. She could be more than just a shadow, more than just a thief. She could be a god-killer or a god-maker. Her choice, they promised her, would decide the fate of Zaris. But a part of Lyra, a part that still clung to her humanity, resisted. She had seen the chaos the gods could unleash. She had witnessed firsthand the fervor in the eyes of their followers, their willingness to sacrifice everything for a taste of their power. Was this the future she wanted for Zaris? Lyra sought solace in the familiar chaos of the city below. She walked among the mortals, listening to their hopes and fears. She saw the awe in their eyes when they spoke of the gods. But she also sensed the undercurrent of fear, the growing unease as the old ways crumbled and the new order asserted its dominance. Section 7. The choice. The weight of the decision pressed down on Lyra. The city was on a precipice. The gods' influence grew with each passing day. Their temples cast long shadows across the city. Their followers grew more fervent, their demands more absolute. Soon, Lyra knew, Zaris would no longer be the city she knew. It would be something else entirely. The choice before her was clear. She could side with the gods, embrace the power they offered, and become a harbinger of this new order. Or she could stand against them, rally the people of Zaris, and fight for the soul of the city she called home. It was a daunting task. The gods were powerful, their followers were many. But Lyra had faced impossible odds before. She had survived the unforgiving streets of Zaris. She had stared into the abyss and emerged unbroken. And she would be damned if she would let these self-proclaimed deities destroy the city she loved. Section 8. The weight of destiny. Lyra made her choice. She chose Zaris. She chose the mortals, flaws and all, over the aloof power of the gods. She had seen enough of what happened when mortals were treated like pawns in a game played by immortals. It was time for the gods to remember what it meant to be mortal. Her first act of defiance was bold. She infiltrated the temple, evading the watchful eyes of the devout and the powerful guardians that protected the god's sanctum. She stole back the artifact, the obsidian cube that had been the key to their return. The theft sent shockwaves through the city. The gods were enraged. Their followers were in an uproar. Lyra had thrown down a challenge, and the gods, accustomed to unquestioning obedience, would not let it go unanswered. Section 9. A city divided. The lines were drawn. Zaris was divided. On one side stood those who had embraced the gods, who believed in their promise of power and prosperity. On the other stood those who clung to the old ways, who valued their freedom and their right to determine their own destiny. The battle for Zaris began. It was a battle fought not just with swords and spells, but with hearts and minds. Lyra, the once insignificant street rat, found herself thrust into the role of leader. She rallied the people, reminding them of the strength they possessed, the spirit that had allowed Zaris to thrive even in the face of oblivion. The streets of Zaris became a battleground. Ether-powered weaponry clashed against divine magic. Automatons fought alongside mages, their combined might a testament to Zaris's unique blend of technology and enchantment. But the gods were not so easily defeated. They commanded forces beyond mortal comprehension, wielding their power with devastating effect. Section 10. The price of power. Lyra knew she couldn't defeat the gods head-on. They were too powerful. She had to find another way, a way to exploit their weaknesses, to turn their own power against them. And she knew just the weakness to target: their arrogance. The gods had grown complacent. They had underestimated the mortals, believing them to be beneath their notice, pawns to be manipulated. Lyra would show them just how wrong they were. She would remind them of the price of power, the weight of responsibility that came with wielding such might. Using her cunning and her knowledge of the city, Lyra lured the gods into a trap. She led them to the heart of Zaris's industrial sector, where the city's technological marvels were forged. There, surrounded by the very tools that had been used to build Zaris, Lyra made her stand. She would show the gods the true meaning of progress, the true potential of mortals. Section 11. A New Dawn. The battle that followed was like nothing Zaris had ever seen. The city shook as divine power clashed with technology. But Lyra had planned well. She used the city's power grid to amplify the obsidian cube, turning the gods' strength against them. The light was blinding, the earth trembled, and then silence. The dust settled, revealing a city forever changed. The gods were gone, their power dispersed. The obsidian cube crumbled to dust in Lyra's hand. Lyra stood among the ruins, bruised but unbroken. She had won, but Zaris was in ruins. Many had fallen. But from the ashes, a new Zaris would rise, a city forever marked by the conflict, a city that would stand as a beacon of hope and defiance.